Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on February 8th, 2023. You guys weren't here when I explained, maybe Rich was, how I didn't know how to say February when I was a little boy. That was the best part of that show, okay? No, I'm going to start off with Richie Rich. And, he's self-conscious about eating his lunch, but I encourage him to do so. I just told him this is a lunch fun kind of thing, okay? We want people to come here and eat their lunch and whatever. Just don't show us the inside of your mouth when it's full of an egg sandwich or something like that.
A little soup, a little naan bread.
I will point something out, the sort of housekeeping business that no one's got. I've been posting a little clips of the show recently every day, okay? There's almost no interest in them, okay? There's no interest in those. Rich got the most when he was saying that recruiters are stupid and lazy.
I agree on that part. Hey, Gavin.
That was only 5. That was only 5.
Not only recruiters, HR people also stupid and lazy.
HR, they're like on another planet. Gavin Johnston. There he goes. Everything about recruitment.com. Richie Rich, the guy in orange, is
red.
Oh, it's not red in my screen.
You need a new monitor.
Maybe I do. Okay. Anyway, that guy is Cornerstone Search. The guy who's going to be eating his lunch is cornerstonesearch.com. And the other guy is MarioTheRecruiter.com. Okay. Now, Gavin, Gavin, I've got a lot of stuff because Gavin had said things that I just think are outrageous this week, okay? But let me get into Rich first. Rich posted some kind of posting that says, don't you love it? Don't you love candidates that get angry when you're trying to help them? What were you talking about, Rich? What did they do to you?
They were mean. They were so mean to me.
Who was mean to you?
What happened? What's the story?
No, you get these candidates that are just like, they're a waste of your time. They have no story. They have no numbers. There's nothing you can use to sell them to a client, and somehow it's your fault.
No, I don't know. Tell me.
You don't know why? Well, you should get on the phone. You should get on the phone more, and you'll realize what happened.
Give me the specific. I know. It reminded me when I read that. I used to be a cab driver many years ago. Yeah, wow. and I picked up once. I'm going on a terrible tangent. I picked up 2 women one with a baby, and so when you put the lever down, it adds a fee, right? There's a startup fee, and so after the first one left, so we stopped. I didn't start it up. I just let it run again. And the woman in back got real mad at me. Oh, I'm trying to cheat her. I was saving her 70 cents or whatever the startup was then. But I think she realized by the time we got to her place that no, I was trying to help her, not cheat her. And she apologized. So, now that I've warmed you up.
Thank you. Now I understand.
What did you do to this person?
Nothing. I mean, honestly,
they lashed out at you like she lashed out. I remember it decades later. You know what? Let me go on about this. Wait, you know how there's that quote from that American author? I can't remember her name. She's in all the time. Toni Morrison, I think. Everybody posts this on Twitter. Oh, people won't remember what you did to them, but they'll remember how you made them feel. That is not true. Okay, this is decades later, and I remember wait a second, I remember what she did to me, okay, and I remember how I felt as well.
Okay. A small
Years
point
of therapy.
Guys, for a guy who keeps on screaming online, Animal is sure very soft, right? Don't you think?
Yes, I'm oversensitive.
He's surely sensitive.
He's Canadian.
Yeah, he yells at everyone else. I mean, who gives a damn?
Okay, now I want to hear how Richie Rich was. Okay.
So no, the guy just got all bent out of shape and started screaming and yelling because, oh my God, you guys recruiters can't help me. You guys can't do anything. I'm like, personally, the guy got my email by accident. He shouldn't have gotten an email to even set up a call. But whatever. He set up a meeting.
Okay. So you told this guy to talk. You want to talk to him.
Yeah.
He called you.
Yeah.
He called you back.
He scheduled a call.
And then you started
asking. He scheduled the call. And then, so I'm like, all right, someone schedules a call. I'll take it most of the time because you never know. You know, maybe you're misreading them. Maybe there's a real reason for the moves. Who knows, right? So, you know, there's some interesting things on his background. But it just turns out his background wasn't bad. He just himself was bad. He had no oomph to him, right? There's no energy.
He actually didn't know how to sell himself.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he didn't really. I mean, he wasn't that good, so he couldn't tell himself was the problem. His whole background wasn't great.
You just said his background was okay, and now you said
right places, wrong results.
Amen. It's like the guy working in Salesforce versus the guy working in the small company.
Okay, so what'd you say? Listen, buddy, you're a wet noodle. I can't.
Whatever.
I have a lousy personality.
Yeah, I'm like,
even recruiters done.
So, yeah, I just listen. It's not. There's no point in fighting with the guy. Who knows? Maybe the guy had a bad day, or whatever. So, you know, you're just like whatever.
No,
you know.
What did you say to him? How did you turn him off? Because I'm going to get Gavin to judge you on this. What did you say? What did you say to the guy? Ready? Well, he's big on candidate experience, and some woman told him how you decline candidates is a real big issue. Okay, because
I told him flat out. I'm like, listen, you're not giving me anything to work with. I'm like, if I can help you, if you can help me help you, I will do it. But you're not giving me anything I could possibly go to a client with and say, hey, you got to talk to Joe because he was, you know, he was number 9 out of 10 reps on his team. You know, I mean, like, there's nothing to sell him on. He has no quota success, no big wins, no nothing. He couldn't tell me anything. So I'm like, dude, how am I supposed to help you? How can anyone help you if you can't give us the ammunition to try to do anything for you? If you can do that, I'm happy to talk to you again.
I mean, excuse me for interrupting, but you are one of the top sales recruiters in the business, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously, even if he spoke with you properly, you could at least figure some way to help him out. But yelling is the dumbest thing they can do.
Yeah, I think we know that he's one of the best recruiters, but a lot of times candidates don't. But that's not the point. What's important is that the candidate has a specific expectation. And like Rich says, I mean, Jesus, if the guy is not capable of selling himself, you've got to give him honest feedback because what else can you do?
And he's a sales guy.
Ignore the person, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I had a guy years ago. I never forget because it was like on like Passover, Rosh Hashanah or something. I was at my mom's house. You know, I took this call and the guy was telling me he was going to sue me for age discrimination. I mean, he was 40 years old. All right. And this was probably 15 years ago at least. And he was all pissy because I'm the only person that got this guy an interview, he told me the day before. And he bombed the interview. So somehow it was my fault. I was like, dude, do what you got to do. You know? I mean, there's no point engaging a lot of these people that get all bent out of shape. Needless to say, they're stressed. They're, you know, all they're going to do is just trash your reputation if you trash them. So you're just like, whatever.
Okay, Rich, it's not like you tried to help this guy. You didn't go out of your way for him. You just read his resume and said, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Oh, no, I talked to him on the phone. I had a conversation with him.
Well, that's helping him.
Well, that's what I did. Where am I losing you?
He didn't like you. You told him you're no good. Okay.
No, hey, listen. What can I tell you? Not everyone loves me.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you for telling me I'm lousy and I have no hope for the future.
Listen, you can't help people who don't want to be helped in this business. All right.
You can't help people, but he wanted to maybe to be helped. But you knew that you weren't going to waste your time on.
You're right. I'm not a social worker.
Yeah, but Hannibal, what all that Rich did was hold up a mirror to his face, huh?
Exactly. Some people don't like reality. They don't want the truth. And listen, we're not social workers. We're fucking salespeople. We're here to make money. You know, we're not here. You know, we get, who is it? It was what's his face? Who's your buddy there? Totally blanking on his name.
I don't know. Give me something about him.
Yeah,
David Perry.
Jerry. Like Jerry always says. He's like, he posted it up yesterday. He's like, listen, our job is to get people. I think it was Jerry, maybe Gavin. I don't forget. One of them. It was like, hey, our job is to get people. You know, is not to get people jobs. It's to fill jobs. Big difference.
Oh, that was Ernie.
Yeah.
That wasn't Ernie.
That was David M. Marr said it was Ernie, and he's right. Oh, but you didn't watch the clips. I posted about that. Okay, even these guys don't watch the clips.
I mean, but that's really the facts. You know, you're not here to help everyone. I mean, what's the average recruiter place? Like 10 people a year?
Yeah, but you call those guys losers.
They are. I mean, that's barely splitting that with your boss. You're making nothing. I mean, Gavin, you're training people. If one of your people make 10 placements a year, is that a success? I mean, we're talking average. We're not talking $200,000 fees. No,
but it depends, of course, at what stage. I mean, I've got people that come in that have done like 3 placements last year.
Yeah.
And obviously that's why they're talking to me.
Yeah.
But you've got to. But having said that,
why do
what's
people say
happening
that
a
all
lot
the time?
is a lot of people are actually now they're not aiming for the heights. They're interested in having a lifestyle business, and they're thinking, I'm going to work 25, 30 hours a week. What do I need to do to reach that? And those people, well, with 10, 15 placements a year, they'll get there,
Yeah, but that's
and also one more thing.
Wait, hang on. And then they wonder why they go in these ruts, though. They catch themselves. If you don't, like, I have a good buddy who's he's a good recruiter, but then he goes in these ruts every year, and he's like, oh God, I don't know why I'm in this. It's like because you work for a month, and you take 2 months off, and then you work for another month. He just rides the wave. He works on one job, gets filled, and then he's like, oh shit, I got nothing else to do. I'm like, you can't stop. This is a rat race.
No,
one more thing to Gavin's point. Listen, if you're making 3 placements a year, what is the billing like for the placements? For example, are you getting a 30K fee per placement, a 40K fee, or maybe a 20K fee?
No. This person was much less than that. That's why I'm happy to have them in my on my program.
So if a guy's making like 100K every quarter, working just 3 placements, ain't that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. You're making
$100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mario, let's face it. Typically, the people who are doing so little, they do not get.
Yeah, that's for sure. It was a hypothetical statement.
Didn't Gavin write somewhere that you have to work 50 or 60 hours a week or something like that? Somebody put that up.
No.
Okay,
I said that right in the beginning. When you want to launch, that's what I say. Yeah, at least 50 hours a week. Yeah, minimum.
You do it right.
More than that at times.
If you do it right when you're starting, I mean, there's a bunch of folks in Pinnacle. I mean, they're working half a week basically, but they're billing $500,000. But they've been doing it for 20 years. You know,
but you
once
start
you get your clientele
at the beginning, and then you can take it easy if you want to. But if you don't invest time in the beginning, all the rest is going to be messed up.
Exactly.
That's the basics of any business.
Yeah. But that's what
you got to invest your ass into the business.
But everyone wants
Mario, but what percentage of people do you think that join our industry actually do that?
Yeah, exactly.
I would say only 5%.
Maybe.
Oh, I think it's less than that.
Yeah, I would say you're right. Yeah. I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I remember when I started, it was like 1 out of 10 people would make it in this business. And making it wasn't really making money. It was just not quitting.
Yeah, surviving in the business.
Yeah,
that's the toughest thing.
That's a good ad for the Recruiting Animal Show. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Just like New York. Okay?
Yeah.
Now I want to do an ad for Gavin. Gavin is a trainer, and everybody watch the show. You'll see if he's the kind of person that you can relate to. He's got a different, I have to admit, a different idea of how to do business than most people. It's unique. But he's somebody I think is easy to relate to. And you can find out everything about him at everythingaboutrecruitment.com. Do I have that right, Gavin?
Absolutely.
And it's Johnston with a T. I forgot that last week. Okay. I put up a clip by him advertising himself that recruiters need, but it was actually for the benefit of the community. Recruiters need training, and he's one of the guys who want to give it to you. Okay, so check him out. There's foodindustryrecruiter.com. Ernie, do you guys like it when I link to you on LinkedIn? I link your name, or are you embarrassed when I do that?
No, that works for me.
Good. Okay, Ernie, did you see that I linked?
Free PR.
I like it.
Okay.
Although I am rather shy, I like it.
Okay. Okay, but I just said you missed the part where I said no. I see the figures. Nobody watches them anyway. Nobody watches them anyway, except for that one where Rich said recruiters are terrible. Okay, here's Gavin. Okay, the guy I
didn't see the comments. Did anyone disagree with it though?
Yeah, I linked to you on one of them. He asked a question. He said, Rich, when he does a split, he's always asking for candidates. He's never supplying them, right?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's actually not true. If it's I know you and I trust you, I'll supply them.
Oh, yeah?
If I don't trust you and I don't know you.
There's not many people worthy of trust in the world. That's
you have to fill out an application.
Rich Rosen. Okay, I want to get
just wait on that topic though. Wait, was the year before last? I mean, I did over $300,000 worth of splits. All right. And they weren't all coming my way. Some were going out too. So just saying, if you're a good recruiter, you get good candidates, you know?
Okay. Then we're going to get to Gavin. I built the guy up. Now we're going to tear him down. Okay. Isn't that the way? You know, once I went to this class once and there was nobody there when I was in my 20s, and we were all sitting outside because the door was locked and nobody showed up for it anyway. And one guy was studying Buddhism or something. And he said, build the Buddha up, then tear the Buddha down. And that's what we're going to do right now. Gavin said, Gavin had a long posting called The Real Secret of Being a Successful Agency Recruiter. And he had this kind of spiritual thing there. Own your failures. All your failures are your fault. If someone's not interested in talking to you, it's your fault. Okay? I don't believe that for a second. Go ahead, defend yourself.
Read Extreme Ownership. 2 Navy SEALs wrote it, and it is fantastic. If you are going to say, oh, but they didn't want to talk to me, oh, it's the economy, oh, it's this, that, and next thing, the bad weather, you're never going to be a successful recruiter. But if you're going to say, well, that didn't work, I'll try something else, I'll find another way into that client, I'll find another way of getting hold of that candidate, I'll find another way of negotiating an increase in my rate, whatever it is, then you'll be successful. You've got to take ownership of it.
So the assumption there was success is possible. You just haven't figured out how to get there yet. Is that fair? Yeah.
In the big lines, yeah.
Am I the only one who's got a problem with Yeah, it's my fault, everybody.
So you don't want to take ownership. Okay.
I was born that way. I was born bad. I was born with, I'm not privileged like Gavin, okay, where I have a natural path to success and I just have to.
Animal, no one has a natural path to success. That's the dumbest shit you've ever said in your life.
Yeah, you know what though? Okay, everything today, if you say you're lucky, now that's interpreted as privilege. Somehow you've got something that's unfair because everyone doesn't have it, right? Gavin is better than me. He's born with a better brain in some regards. And so he can assume that everybody is like him and that there's a success out there for them. They just have to find their way to it, okay? And it's not that hard. Well, I don't know if that's true.
Those that know Gavin.
One second, hold on, guys.
Those that know Gavin from when he was a youth will know that he doesn't have a really good accent. He developed the accent.
Yeah, I wondered about that accent. We'll talk about it another time. Mario wants to say something.
I've got something to say. Okay, if I can be where I am today, all right? Given all the minuses I had in my life, anyone can do it. That's a fact. There's a lot I don't tell outside, but that's the truth.
Your father's a businessman, okay?
Animal, I don't want to go into detail. I cannot go into detail because
but what I know about him, I can see his father is in business, and Maureen Sherab, our good friend, she always says, if you're born to a businessman, you're going to be a business person, okay? And so that's one privilege that you've got. The other one is,
yes, I don't
many
say
times
I'm
you've
not
got a gift of gab. Okay.
Bullshit.
You talk well.
I'm not. Listen, what I'm trying to say is I have had plenty of mistakes in my life that have also could have steered me the wrong way. Okay. And I don't want to go into detail, but trust me when I say this. When I meet you in Canada, I'll tell you something else.
You can't just say that and not go into detail.
Yeah,
I'll go into detail personally on the phone. I can't tell it out here. But
I've got another thing to take up with Gavin.
Wait. Animal, you cannot say that you need to have the gift of the gab to be a successful recruiter. The one doesn't equate with the other.
Yeah.
You need to have the right methodology. You've got to ask the right questions. Then you can be successful. You don't need to have the gift of the gab. Most of the time, you're going to be listening to people in any case.
Oh, and you got to be persistent. I don't know if that's true. And that reminds me of a comment by Michael Glenn. Michael Glenn in 2007, he was the first person who reviewed the Recruiting Animal show. And he said the only one who understood it, this show tries to be entertaining. Okay. I don't let people talk in a monotone. I'll cut them off. Okay. That's what lots of people don't like, but that's what I like about the show. And he understood it. And under that posting where Rich was talking about how awful recruiters are, Michael Glenn said, that doesn't matter. There's going to be a machine in the future that contacts people, and we won't need recruiters. And I said, look, Michael, I said, just like you said, the show was trying to be entertaining. Well, listen to Rich. He's entertaining. He can talk. He can bring people in, passive candidates, who some machine isn't going to be able to bring them in. And now you're saying gift of the gab means nothing. Your turn. Go ahead. Gavin.
No, having the gift of the gab will help, but you do not need it to be successful. No, it's a complete fallacy. I have known people who are definitely not interesting in the way they talk. They don't have the natural way of talking. They don't have all that. And
no charisma. No charisma. Successful. No charisma. Is that what you're saying? They have no charisma. Yeah, no pizzazz.
You don't need it.
Okay, what do you need?
It helps. Of course it helps. But often, if you look at, listen, if I look at my students and I see where they start off from, they don't go and question things. Therefore, they don't go and ask the right question to get more information out of somebody. For example, I call you Animal and you're a candidate and you go, I'm not interested. If I say, okay, bye-bye, I have failed. But if I go and ask you questions in such a way that you start thinking, well, maybe that guy is worth me spending 5 minutes talking to. And I continue asking the right questions and you say, oh, well, let's now 10 minutes. And in the end, you go, all right, I'll send you my resume. And we're moving forward. But it's about that. It's about asking the questions, about listening. It's about changing and tweaking the way I approach talking to you in that very short time I've got. And that's
you're blabbing too much. Ernie solved that problem for me last week. Okay. He says, you call someone up. He says, I'm happy where I am. And you say to him, why do you want to leave your job? And he says, I didn't say, I told you I'm happy. Well, then what are you talking to me for? I'm not talking to you. You called me. You screw with his mind a little. That's not exactly what he said.
He's selling shrink services.
Okay. I want to get to this other thing that you said. It's too bad Rich isn't here because I think but Ernie's got something, and maybe even David M. Marr wants to say something. Gavin says you should brand yourself as relentless. Do not give up. Always try. If someone doesn't want to talk to you, always try several times. And this is the kicker. Make sure they know that you will not give up until you have that relationship built. I'd say most people would say that's scary and it would turn them off. Over to you, Gavin.
Let them be scared. I'll be knocking on their door.
Really? Anybody want to comment on that?
Do you really think this will
Come
work?
and knock on my door. I'll be waiting for you.
Do you really think this will work?
As you hear the chainsaw in the background.
That's right.
Okay, Mario wants to criticize you. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to criticize. I just clarifying. Do you think this will really work? You keep on calling someone 10, 20 times.
At some stage when I was working full time, I was doing my job really, really badly because I was focusing on one area of business and not another. And I suddenly discovered that one of my competitors had placed 6 people on this new project that I didn't know anything about. And I found out, and I tried to get hold of the project manager. I got hold of him on the 106th call. Within the next 6 months, I placed 7 people. My competitor placed 0. Yeah, it's worth going on. Never, ever, ever give up. Never.
So my question is, you were calling from the same number, or was it a hidden number?
Sometimes hidden, sometimes visible. Both.
Okay.
David Perry's got a famous story like that too.
I don't know who you are, but I've seen your number before. I nearly started laughing. I've seen your number before. You've got 5 minutes. The rest was history. I spent 25 minutes on the phone with him. Never give up. I am now talking to an account that I didn't manage to get into over 10 years ago. And now I found my way in. And there we go. Never give up. Never, ever, ever give up.
I agree. You got to kind of look at the industry. And you got to ask yourself, how many businesses are in that industry? And if you look at that and you see like 5,000 businesses, you got to realize you just need 5 to 10 companies and you can make some bucks. So you got to decide whether you want to spend your time going after what Gavin says or not. But it all depends on what niche you're working.
Yeah, I was
Maybe.
just thinking about the IT niche. How tough is it?
But
And- and
Rich, well, the first time Rich was on 5 years ago, I remember he clearly said, I said, how many times do you email them? How many times do you call? What's the max? And these are his words. There is no max. Am I right about that, Rich? There is no, he can't hear. Okay. There is no max.
He can hear, but he can't talk.
He says, I'll leave voicemail after voicemail. The more times they hear my name, the better it is. Okay.
Exactly. No
Yeah,
bad
okay.
advertising.
So you're agreeing with Gavin. Let them know that you are relentless.
I
Okay?
did this to someone this morning. I'm like, I don't know why salespeople call and don't leave a voicemail. You already did the effort. Who cares? You say, hey, it's Rich Rosen. Call me back. Doesn't matter. What do you got to lose?
Okay. So these guys are the relentless boys. Okay. The rest of us are not so sure. Okay. So you guys see, I remember once they told me I was doing a project for Deloitte and Touche, I guess, and I was recruiting accountants, and they told me you be relentless. They didn't use those words, but they said just keep calling. So I did. I did.
Well,
And people did get back to me in the end, but they didn't like me. They didn't like me. That was my experience. If I called too many times, they just called up to tell me how much they hated me. Okay.
But who
But
cares?
maybe relentless is not the
Ignore.
word.
You've got a job to do. You've got to move forward, huh? You've got to actually completely take yourself away from yourself and think, I'm a business. I've got objectives to meet. I've got to go and get hold of that person and convince them that they have to talk to me. That's it.
Ernie, what were you saying? Sorry.
No, I said relentless may not be the right word. I mean, if you have one niche with one company, then go ahead and be relentless. But if you're just breaking into a niche and you've got a lot of opportunity elsewhere, you got to decide how you're going to place your time and where you want to go. But if you see a gold mine there and it's one person that you really want to connect to, you go ahead and do it. But it's got to be you. It's got to be what you like and what you want and what motivates you to succeed.
So,
mean,
can I ask you a question, please?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, how many times did you call in a week? If you're trying to get new business from
Yeah.
a
What's the
client?
frequency of the call? That's
Yeah,
what
the
he's
frequency
asking.
of the calls. Yeah.
Who are you asking?
Who are you asking? Come on.
Yeah.
Who are
Yeah,
you asking?
how many times did you
Ernie
call?
or Gavin? or
Anyone? Just someone give me an answer. I mean,
Come.
Let's
How many
start with
times you
Gavin,
call?
okay?
let's say you're
Gavin,
targeting
so
company X.
So-
How many
how
times
many
you call them?
times you called 108 times? What was the frequency?
Yeah.
106 times over
Oh,
a
I'm
6
sorry.
month period.
Over 24
What?
hours.
Over what? 24 hours?
Day in, day out.
Okay, serious.
3
tell me.
o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:15.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's been 30 seconds.
What is it?
What's the frequency
This
like?
is over nearly a 6 month period.
So,
But what?
would you say
for
monthly? you were
every
doing
3
20
days,
calls?
do we have to pull it out of you? Every day, every other day? What was the frequency of the
Seriously?
calls?
For that specific client, you don't call harassing. You call, say, for example, if you call at 10 in the morning, you say, okay, that person's in meetings. I'll try this evening. If the evening doesn't work, very, very early the next morning, and you try switching the times. But
Every day. It sounds like you're calling twice a day then. Is that what you're saying?
it couldn't be, yeah, it couldn't be 2-3 times a day, yeah.
So he is relentless. Don't tell me that's not the right word for him, okay? And you've got Richie Rich sending the emails, the voicemails, and the texts, and with no max. Don't tell me he's not relentless. Don't tell me that that's not the right word, because it is the right word, okay?
It's not the right word. It's stalking. It's crazy. There's a lot of other words you could use.
Okay,
You know,
that's what I was asking. Okay, now also Gavin says, spend several hours a week reading up on what is happening in your niche. That's going to give you a topic of conversation. Okay, is that right? Several hours?
Let me just add one thing. Going back to that thing, if you were to call 150 times over a 6 month period, I think it adds up to like calling every 7 hours. trying to figure that out. So,
Yeah, 106 times is about once a day, because it's 220 work days a year. So 6 months is 110 days. So it's once a day.
Okay, now
Every
I'll have
day.
to give an endorsement of David Perry, who's a super
So,
recruiter. Okay, he told me he called a guy, like, was it 60 times or 80 times? He finally got the guy when he was driving on the Autobahn in Germany in his car, and he recruited the guy and placed him for a huge fee. 80 times.
There
First
you
time he said it
go.
was 80 times. The next time it was, I think, 60. Okay. But it was a lot. And he's another
Okay.
super recruiter, and he's not afraid. Here's the main
So-
thing, everybody. Here's the lesson you heard. Just so you know, these guys are so spiritual on this show. Gavin said, take your ego out of it. It's not you. Don't worry if they hate you. Okay. That's not, don't let that bother you. That's the key. Don't let it bother you. Am I right, everybody? Does that sound like it's good? Okay, everybody, nod. Okay. Now,
so-
go ahead, Mario.
So let's say I'm trying to approach a client X, okay, and I have a contact over there. All right. So I call them every day for a month or 2 or 3 or 4 months till they answer the phone. So what would be a good time frame of frequency to call so that I don't seem like a guy who's, I don't mind being that because that is a fact, but I don't seem like a stalker.
That's
One,
the
you don't
wrong
need to-
question.
Yeah.
That's
well,
absolutely the wrong question.
Yeah, right.
First of all, you shouldn't call every single day. You
Okay.
can email, call, text. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gavin did.
Well, it's different. I mean,
Gavin did that.
you can't.
No,
it
but I
doesn't-
didn't call every day. There were periods when I
That's it.
knew that there was a need, and I'd call 3-4 times in a day, and then I wouldn't call for a few days, and then I'd call again. And it's Mario,
so,
to answer your question, what you need to know is, have they got a pain point? If they've got a pain point, you're on them, because
Okay.
you know that they've got a need, and you come with a candidate. If you're
Right.
just calling some guy randomly that you don't know, there's
Obviously,
anything going on,
After you
Yes.
call X, after you call X amount of times, you become the pain point.
He sounds the way he makes it sound like, you know, when you got
That
a
was a
pain
good one,
point,
right? That was a good one.
you're like
That was a damn
a
good one.
lion with a gazelle. You know, you're
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
the herd and looking for the weak one, and you just go. Okay.
Right.
That's what it is. Did Rich want to say something there? He says, you're not calling every day. Was there something special you wanted?
Right. I was just saying. I mean, you're not going to call every. I mean, you can call every single day. I may call like 3 or 4 days in a row, but I'm not. You know, then you kind of taper it off a little bit. But every other day, every 3 days, it all depends. Like Gavin said, what's their pain? What's their need? How much do you know about the situation? You know, from if it's a client, if it's a prospective client, you know, if it's a candidate, yeah, that you can call every day. Who cares? Till they get back to you. You know, I got a guy that emailed me this morning. He's like, "Hey, this is the 10th email you sent me." I'm like, but he didn't say he was interested. I'm like, so I emailed it back. I'm like, so what does that mean? You're interested? We're not interested. I'm like, you know.
Are we dancing?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, great. I got a lot more I can
there's
say.
another 10 mails to get an answer.
Hey, Ernie, I think that's Lou Adler who says, "Not the candidate dance."
Yeah. You know.
Okay.
That's pretty-
This Rich has to stay here for a second. Okay.
There you go.
This is okay. Now
Attention.
I posted
camera.
something about Rich. I posted 2 different things about doing business development and how you build rapport on business development. Okay. Now I read an article about consultative recruiters, and Gavin just said you have to learn to listen. Okay. They said in the article, or the author said, that a consultative recruiter does not listen. Okay. He said the hiring manager wants to learn something about her own business, its problems, what she needs to consider to generate the outcome she needs. So a consultative recruiter doesn't pitch his company in a first meeting, and he doesn't ask questions about her challenges. He teaches her why she has them. He knows already what challenges she has and addresses them from his own experience. He doesn't have to ask her. What do you think about that, Mr. Johnston? Everythingaboutrecruitment.com.
Sir Johnson.
I can't answer it black or white because it will very much depend on the situation. If you have done your research and you know what the pain points are, then I agree with you. But very often you have not done your research, and then you're gonna listen. You're gonna ask the questions of what problems are you facing? Where are you having issues with your current suppliers? What have you done so far to find the right people? And then you listen to what they're going to say to you. And then you can go in with your consultative approach and say, tuck, 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 this is what I recommend you do.
Okay, so does Rich, who gave us a big speech about how the recruiter is an expert and he has to show that, or she has to show it to the prospect, the company, does he also endorse the idea of questions first, then you show off how much you know? Or do you go in? Here's what it said. They started off saying the extreme rarity of recruiters with business acumen makes buyers feel that most recruiters are inadequate to help them. That's why they say, look, you don't have to ask any questions. Just go off and show off how much you know. You know what her problems are already, okay? Rich said, oh, you have to teach her stuff. Are you teaching her stuff without asking her what her problems are? Or are you just saying, listen, Betty, I want to teach you something?
I usually go with the listen, Betty, even if her name is something else. No, but you've got to ask some discovery questions. I mean, again, this is a sales job. You've got to find out what their pains are. And most people's initial reaction, we don't have any pains. We're perfect. Really? Well, how are you hiring? How is the 3,000 resumes you got from LinkedIn doing? If we can save that problem from you, if I can send you 3 or 4 people, I'd save you way more in our fee is going to be far less than the cost of your time going through those things. You get into that whole conversation about what's the pain.
Am I the only one who hears, she says, we don't have any problems. And he says, yes, you do. And I'm going to tell you what your problems are. Okay. He's not listening, Gavin. He's telling her she's wrong. You got problems and you need me. Okay.
You're deflecting again, animal sales job. This is a sales job, not a social worker job. You're everyone's first answer when you call a candidate up out of the blue. What do they say? I'm not interested. Really? Why not? Everyone else in your team's looking. I'm like,
yeah, but hold on. Rich says that even if he doesn't have a clue about it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you hold up papers and say, "Look at all these resumes."
Yeah, exactly. Much of a McCarthy style, isn't it?
By the coffee machine
I
afterwards.
have a list of communists.
Give me 1 second. Call you in a minute.
Okay, we'll go back to Gavin. Gavin,
I was just giving this candidate.
What about he's making assumptions? So he asks, and what if they say, look, just like the candidate says, "Oh, I'm happy where I am." The potential client says, "No, we don't need any help." Rich says, "Yes, you do." And what about all you're wading through tons of people without me? I know what your problems are. If you're not using a guy like me, then you've got a ton of resumes that you're wasting time going through. That's essentially what he said. Am I right there, Gavin?
Of course, but again, I've said it in a number of posts. Recruitment is it's a psychological game. Yeah, you've got to put your psychological hat on, and you're going to think the initial thing that anybody's going to do is bam, rejection. I don't need you, because it's the easiest way to react to somebody. But then the question that you're going to ask, for example, the candidate, so say, "Oh, I'm really happy here." Yeah. So what? You're going to work there for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Oh no! Bang! You're in there. And the client that they say, no, all is good. Wow. So that means you've got the perfect setup. Everything is going fantastically. If that's the case, do you mind if I come around and write an article about you've got the best in class situation? They go, well, and bang, you're in there.
I mean, think about it. If someone comes up to a store, someone comes up to you in a store, they say, "Hey, can I help you?" What's your first reaction? No. You're in a department store. You're like, "Oh yeah, sure. I need this and this." No. Your first reaction is gut reactions. No, get away from me. It's just everyone's initial interest. I'm not interested. Swat away. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah, go into a Canadian Tire store and try to find someone to help you. Like a big box hardware store like Lowe's or something like that. You guys might know. Okay, I just want Gavin to know that I'm going to give him the Ernie treatment. I think this week I'm going to get a lot of segments and post them. It will be great advertising for you, except nobody watches. Okay. So I just want to post that these two guys. What they're telling us. And Ernie kind of last week as well, or the 11th, what I posted last week, they're saying somebody says, I don't need you. And they say, yes, you do. Okay. Or you don't need me. I don't believe you. Okay. That's essentially what they say. That's the approach. Mario, am I right? Yeah, that's what they're saying. The corporate guy out in the cloud, David M.
He's very quiet.
He's quiet today because there's so much action going on here. Is that what they're saying, David M. Marr? Yes, you need me. You're wrong. You do need me, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yes.
That's what they're saying. What do you think about that as an internal recruiter with 7 years agency experience at some point in your career?
I would say that it's good to be persistent, and that they're saying it because there is a need, and regardless of what anybody says, the easy cop out is, like a quick deflection. So when I was trained, it was always, expect 3 no's to get to the real reason. So
Okay.
So David, can I ask you a question? Sorry, can I ask you a question, David? So how would you react if one of these guys called you?
I mean, I talked to them, so it doesn't bother me.
Okay, well, I brought a contrary view as well. Another article said, this is the magic line in business. Help me understand your business. People who care deeply about their business and what they're doing, they love that question. They're happy to teach you. They'll explain everything to you because they want a partner who cares enough to learn their business. But what I've been hearing here, hi Ellie, is that really they don't want a partner who wants to learn their business. They want a partner who knows their business. And I will add that Gavin is a guy who's ultra niche. Get a narrow niche so you know everybody in that business and you know that business inside out. And he just said, spend several hours a week reading about that business. And so you're an expert in that business. So which is it, Gavin? You ask the questions, help me understand your business, or you say, look, I know everything about your business inside out, more than you do. Which is it?
No. The one is not stop the other one. For example, I'll give you an example of an organization.
You're a bit like Rich now. He's got a mic that doesn't work, Arity, and he's not come close to it. We can't hear you that. Can everybody hear him that well? Is it just me? Yeah.
Just you.
Okay, go ahead,
Let
Gavin.
me give you an example of an industry that I got into and I had no clue about. It's the I can't even say the words. Animal health, basically. Yeah. They're limited by a crazy amount of rules in how they can run their business. And so I can explain to them how to recruit, but they've got to explain to me all the restrictions they have by law, but of the kind of situations where I cannot place certain people. So the one doesn't stop the other. I've got loads of questions to ask them and learn from them and vice versa.
Yeah. Okay. That's if you're breaking into something. Okay. But that's not the ideal. The ideal is going in and saying, I know everything. Okay. You're telling me you don't need me. I know you do. Okay. Let's talk about Ellie for a second. She's job hunting. Am I right about that, Ellie? Yes or no? She can't hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Well, I'm kind of pivoting back to now figuring out BD for my business.
What business is that?
Recruiting.
Oh, you're going agency, solo recruiter?
I've had a business, but never was great at doing the BD. And now I will figure that out.
I asked you're a solo recruiter. Don't play with me, okay? Yes or no? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
I think of it in a different way. So that's why I'm not saying I'm looking
what
for
do you
work.
say? How else can you say it? Solo recruiter. That's what we're all here. What is it? What's his name? Mario's got people working for him, and so does Rich, actually. He's got VAs. Okay, you think about it.
And
if you want to talk, I was going to give people your domain name or scold you if you didn't have one. But, I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to bother you. Just keep going. Just pipe up if you feel like saying it. Okay. Okay, here's Dimple said. Anybody got an issue? They want a burning issue?
Yeah, you remember the optics thing you want to talk about, Animal?
Okay, Rich and our buddy Mario here, they use, first I'll go to the
Rich
Outlook. Outlook.ai. Didn't both of you say, yeah,
it's Outplay. Outlook, yeah.
Outlook is the email. What is it and why do you like it?
Outplay?
Yeah.
Because it's just a key campaign sequencer, email sequencer.
Yeah. It's CRM, right?
Email automation.
Yeah, kind of.
So, well, not kind of. It is. I mean, it's email automation and it's built right. It ties into the databases. like Crelate and I think PCR and others. So, I mean, it makes life super easy.
Just email?
It just it does a lot of things, but email's all I use it for. You can do voicemail drops and things like that. It doesn't tie into, it ties into LinkedIn, but manually, not automatically. So
how much?
I don't know. I paid I paid AppSumo $70 or $60.
Yes,
Oh,
70.
you're
It was
smart.
some
AppSumo
$69 a month at that time, right?
Yeah, I just signed up for. There's another one that's on there right now called Closely, which I believe ties into LinkedIn and email.
Oh, is it good?
I'm trying to get them connected.
Are you using chat? Are you doing anything with that?
Oh,
ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing with it. I mean, it's great to get subject lines and things like that. I mean, if you tell it to, act as an expert recruiter, you'll get better recruiting answers usually too. Stuff for recruiters. So,
but Mario asked you about something closely. Do you want to?
I asked, is it as good as Outplay? Because even I have Outplay.
I haven't used it yet, and until I told these guys until they integrate it into Crelate, I probably wouldn't. But
okay. You wanted to talk, Mario, about Uptick. Can you tell us?
Yeah, Optics.io. Actually, I was using it. All right, and what happened is,
what is it?
It's a similar tool to Outplay. Yeah, but it has a couple of extra features.
Yeah.
Okay, and what happened was, now the comments are coming from the owner of Optics.io. Okay, Patrick. So the thing is this: during the demo, we were given certain features. Okay, it seems that it's only those features are only present on the upper plans, but during the software demo, the sales rep mentioned that these features are present on all plans. So what happened is 2 weeks back when I was checking our sequences, none of our emails were going out because of this particular reason. So I just think leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you do business that way. Okay, if you're not going to give something, then you tell us before, and this is the cost of the tool.
Okay, David Perry said there's a lot of this bait and switch in recruiting technology. They show you one thing in the demo, they promise one thing, and then later on they pull it. He said,
hang on. So, I know the guys at Uptick too. What did they switch? What features got switched?
Not what switched was, listen, it's not that it's switched. They have presented certain plans on the system.
What switched? So what's
I'll explain to you. The A and B testing, okay, Spintax. And the worst part is the triggers, which are a basic thing of any sequence.
The multiple emails and stuff. That what do you mean?
Not the multiple emails. The triggers. For example, if I pause a sequence till a particular task is completed, they stop that. They have changed that also to the next plan, the higher $200 plan.
So you're not endorsing them anymore. Uptick. It's Upticks actually. Let me spell it.
.io. Yes. No, it's a good tool. I won't say it's a bad tool. It's a very good tool. All right. Yeah. Just that this leaves a bad taste in the mouth.
Okay, it's upticks.io. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very good tool. I won't say no. Just a bit tough to use sometimes, but just that these type of behaviors or these type of techniques kind of are like a bait and switch.
I haven't seen those changes, so I can't say it. But these guys are definitely an early stage company. I think they're pretty good. I think they got some good stuff in their tool.
Definitely, I don't say no.
Yeah, I haven't seen that change though. It didn't change on my end.
What's your plan, Rich?
I don't even know. I just have the base one. So
then even I'm on the base one. You must be on the starter or the growth plan.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay,
go to their website. You see.
There's a guy who said he started his own recruiting business and he's spending $279 US a month on technology, and he thinks he's doing well. And he's really into this email automation. Should every recruiter be using automation, sending out masses of emails every day? Gavin,
targeted groups.
I've never done it.
You've never done email automation?
No.
Like a campaign, like an email sequencer?
No.
Oh, dude. It's funny. Like Pinnacle, we did a survey in Pinnacle. Half the people in Pinnacle haven't either. I think if you do it, you'll increase your billings by $100,000.
Easily.
But don't forget that I only spend about 3-4 hours a week, or maybe 2-3 hours a week on recruitment nowadays.
Yeah, but you're advising people. You have to know about this, okay?
I'm advising people on my recruitment methodology. I made a post in Recruiters Online about the 7 different ways of
I've
doing
got it
things.
here, but we won't get to it today. You come back next week and we'll do it.
No, no.
Okay.
When you
Or
mentioned
another
the
day.
point is that there's loads of different ways of doing it. You got the extremes, which is they only rely on sending out masses of emails, and then you got the other extreme, which is only phone. I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, hold on. Let me say, Gavin you says you have to know almost every individual in your very narrow niche. So he wants to establish a personal contact with everybody, and he's not doing that with mass emails. Is that
Yeah,
right?
but you
There's a
could- but
contradiction there. Is that what
but
you're saying?
You could do
That's
that
correct.
with automation.
I don't need
You can set it
automation. Having said that, it could help a little bit, but not enough for me to spend the time investing into it.
Okay, Ernie wants to take you apart.
No,
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, you could do it with automation, like Rich is talking about, get your name out there. But the other part, you mentioned some dude that's paying $279 a month. Well, that's about $3,500 a year, which is
Okay.
really nothing.
Yeah, well, no, he said it's not much. He's got Apollo he loves, Mailgun, Microsoft Office. His applicant tracking system I never heard of before. It's called Manital. Okay. He's got LinkedIn Sales Navigator. He's got a business phone, total $271 monthly.
And so you're paying about $3,000, $4,000 a year.
Uh-huh.
To have a business and pay $4,000 a year?
That's what his point was. It's a low capital investment. That was his point.
That's the problem with the business.
Insurance. He's forgetting backup. I mean, just I pay 10 euros a month just for Google backup.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
there's a number of things that are missing in his overview.
Well, he didn't even mention a domain name
Overall,
either.
you don't pay a lot of money to
No,
set up.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Either way, you're paying $3,000 to $5,000. You're not paying a ton.
Yeah, you're not.
If he's not using an enrichment service too, how is he getting his contact information?
No. Well, Rich, let me read this to you.
Actually, he uses Apollo. You said he's got Apollo.
He says Apollo has verified business
Apollo's good.
emails
Good
and
program.
personal cell phone numbers for decision makers, but we don't want decision makers numbers. Those are the top guys. They're easy to get in touch with. We want the people lower down in the middle.
Numbers. You still need their numbers.
Yeah, but he says that decision makers, that means,
Well, yeah, but that's everyone's numbers. I mean, everyone's an Apollo.
I don't think, okay.
They're enrichment.
Okay, so you've used Apollo and you endorse it as strongly as he does?
I haven't used it enough, but yeah, when I used it, it was pretty good.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
There's
Apollo.
a lot of programs that do the same thing. You just got to pick out which one you like the best.
Listen to this number, okay? I pulled 20,000 companies, all in the East Coast in 30 minutes. He said that he was gathering email information for the industries he's looking to serve. 20,000. Gavin would say he's crazy, okay? At least that's what I assume. 20,000? That's a hell of a niche, or it's really no niche at all. Am I right about that?
Well, it doesn't mean
20,000?
anything. I mean, you can pull as many companies as you want. It's placements that count, right?
Yeah, okay,
You
but
need-
how
you
do you
need to have
go
that-
about
that-
it?
that
You know,
one
do you
person
get a
that you're
big
getting in
niche,
and
small
building
niche,
the
or a
relationship
million
with, you know?
emails, or one by one? That's what we're talking about. Okay. Anybody else want us to talk? Oh, Rich said something. Rich, you said last week, I saw you say that you contact, or maybe only by email, 400 people for every job. I was shocked.
Yeah.
400?
300 to 400.
Well, that means you just send them a mass email. You include them in the mass email. Is that what
You're building lists, so they're getting personal. I mean, quote unquote personalized emails, but they're targeted emails. I mean, my niche is huge, so they're targeted emails for people that are in data analytics or security or whatever niche I'm going after at that point in software. So, the problem is, again, 90% of people aren't that good, maybe even more. So you're left with the 5 or 10% that are good. They're not all looking. They're not all the right fit. They're not all right this size company. So what used to be 100 people back in the day now is on average is probably 300 to 400.
Okay, if you send out 400 emails, though, who's going to call you back? The people maybe primarily that you're not interested in. Am I right about that?
No, because again, I just said I built targeted lists.
Yeah, but the ones that are doing well might have no interest. It's these guys,
You're right,
like
but
the one
that's
you
why you
told us
follow-
about at the start.
But those are the guys you follow up with. You follow up with phone calls with everyone, but there's certain people that you're going to say, hey, this guy's an A player. I don't want to miss him.
You don't follow up with phone calls with 400 people? No way.
Sure. Sometimes you do.
So wait, Rich, you send out 400 emails on a job.
Okay, but they're not going all out at once. They're not all going out tomorrow. They're going to be going out over time.
Okay, but
hang on. You're going to be adding to the list over time while you're doing the search. But you're so like today they may get, because you only send out a couple hundred emails a day anyway on these mail solutions, or you're going to get spammed. You're going to become blacklisted. So you're going to send them out. You're going to mark the ones that it's a targeted list. This is the difference between good recruiters and bad recruiters. I'm not sending an email to Joe's Pizza delivery boy because he drives by a software company. It's going to people that are actually in the space, in the domain, that have a track record. Maybe it's people I know, maybe it's people I don't know. And then you're going to follow up with them with a phone call. You're going to follow up with a text. You're going to follow up again with a phone call. If you think they're an A player, you're going to mark it down on your calendar to make sure you don't miss that person. Very simple. It's just you rinse, wash, and repeat.
I'm taken aback that he's calling 400 people, okay?
Well, I mean, 400 people over a given time. It's not like
for one job.
Unless, but again, it could be one person if he fills his job right away.
Exactly. I mean, it could. And listen, something you're going to send 400 emails out. Maybe you get 50 people back. I'm not interested. Or there's, or they're just not. You look at them again.
What percentage of those people are like the guy you tried to help that had nothing to offer? Okay, I'm going to guess most of them are who reply are those guys.
No, I mean, some are just, they're not ready to move.
It's almost no different from Post and Pray. Am I right about that, Gavin? Because I know Gavin doesn't want to fight with Rich, but I know he's coming from a different dimension. Am I right about that? Just yes or no is good enough.
Maybe. What do you mean fight? I'm not here to fight.
He makes it so black and white.
It's an entertaining show, and we like fights here, okay?
Okay, let me tell you. I have never sent out
yes
emails
or no,
on that.
Gavin?
And listening
Gavin,
to Rich,
yes or no?
I actually would disagree. Because for me, it's again the same things what you were saying, is that you need to spend that time really understanding why they're not interested. So when you're talking about making your list, Rich, I fully understand that. And I've got my lists also. Yeah. But what I would do is I would target my A list and just pick up the phone to all of them to really hear their argument why they shouldn't be a candidate.
This is basically what we're doing, because you're going to have your list. Like, you got to remember, I've got a database with over 100,000 people in it alone that I know and I've spoken to. So this list is people I know, and then it's also people built off of LinkedIn, because you got to get fresh blood in all the time. My industry turns over like that, so you can't rely. It's not like manufacturing. These guys are going to sit there for 20 years at a company. They change jobs every 14 to 18 months oftentimes. So you're always on the move. So you're going to, as I said, you're going to build a very targeted list, and then you're going to have people that, this guy could do it, maybe, maybe not. And then you're going to have guys that, this is a guy I definitely got to talk to. Those guys you definitely have to talk to are the ones you're going to call. You're going to make sure they're at the top of the list you're going to call tomorrow. So, I mean, it's really doing the same thing. But in sales, there's so much variation. It's not like you can say, hey, listen, I need a programmer that knows Java. They either know it or they don't, basically. Sales is so much variation, and it's so much opinion. It doesn't.
You do have that particularity that people do change in and out continuously.
Yeah.
In the tech world, it moves less than in the sales world.
Final question, Ellie. Ellie, she's finally piping out. Oh, Ernie too.
No. I want to have Ellie speak.
Okay.
No, I have a follow-up question to Rich. So, I'm sure you shared this in social media and talked about it before.
Get to it. We're out of time.
Would you behave?
No, would you? Out of time.
You shut me up already. Now so Rich.
I was begging you to talk. Don't tell me I shut you off.
Talk. Finish it off.
You're going to accuse me of being sexist soon. Go ahead.
In your presumably voicemail.
In my voicemail, I'll just say,
hey, reach out when you call.
Two different things. The voicemail, it's really, hey, it's just Rich Rosen is following up on an email. Call me back. Or if it's an outreach, I just say, Joe, hey, it's Rich Rosen. I'm just following up on an email. And then they'll say, oh, I didn't get it, or I got it. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Well, like, hey, we've got this great opportunity that we're working on. Thought you'd be a perfect fit for with your background, et cetera, et cetera. You know, it's super simple. Everyone overcomplicates.
Yeah. Okay.
And
This
you
was a
just
great
say
show.
it's
I don't
blah, blah,
care
blah.
what people say on LinkedIn.
I can't hear if you're over.
Great show. And I want to thank MarioTheRecruiter.com. Everything about recruitment.com. Raise your hand. Ernie, foodindustryrecruiter.com. Cornerstone Surgeon. Notice he is wearing a t-shirt from Joe's Pizza. Okay.
Actually, it's Pizza Planet, but thank you.
And Ellie, who's going into business for herself.
I've
Good
been in
luck.
business
Ellie.
for myself.
Good luck, dear. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Oh,
Bye.
David M. Marr, he's disappeared. Oh, he's still here. Bye, Dave.